civil war to your door. That seems to be what the left is planning on. I said, not too long ago, a local lady had a craft business. It was called Country Store to Your Door. And as I've been watching Tim Pool, the Civil War man, oh, he's right. He's very right. It comes to mind that the left is determined to bring the Civil War to your door. And we need to be prepared. And I said, the left's behavior is definitely pushing a lot of people toward the right and toward Trump, which is causing the left to go even more insane. But this just highlights the fact that we need to have a level of sanity prevail in our country. Absolutely. We do. And we need a standard for sanity, which is something we have. We have textbooks that tell you what insanity is, will tell you what anarchists are, but the whole point is nobody is enforcing the law. Reading the comments last week, I noticed someone said something about, the Anti-Communist Act of 1954 has not been enforced. I'm like, there was ever an act against Communist Control Act. So I looked it up, and lo and behold, the Communist Control Act exists. But, and this is the operative word, it says that no presidential administration has ever enforced it. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the problem. And that is the problem with everything today. All these rogue district attorneys are not enforcing the law. Some of these local police are not enforcing the law. These politicians are not enforcing the law. These laws are all in the books. So making new laws is just a joke. It's to make them look good. It's public relations. And Tim pointed that out. Why make new laws when the laws on the books would take care of it? Even things like the so-called hate speech laws, which we say does not exist because that is free speech. But if there was, the laws on the books could cover that. It would be under harassment or, threats. I mean, if there was a serious person, being hateful to somebody, they could get them for harassment or threats or assault or things like that. There are laws in the books that could take care of that. But of course, the left, they want to lay the groundwork for, outlawing any speech against them. That's what they're doing with that. So we must be vigilant against the left because, like I said, they're trying to bring civil war to your door. They've done it in many other places. And as a country, to exist, we all need to agree on the laws. We all need to agree on equal enforcement. And that's what's not happening. Our system is good, but the people in our system are not enforcing the laws. So we get anarchy. And we do not know where this is going to end. So now, let me continue in voiceover to draw up some plans. I said local towns need plans. I'm sorry, but you do. Every family needs a plan, a survival plan, no matter what. This is essentially World War III, or Civil War, however you want to talk about it. And during the World War II, they had bomb shelters and plans. Every family did. You have nuclear plans, little bomb shelters in your yard. Times like this call for plans like that. We each need to have a plan for when the mobs of mad radicals come to your town. And it very well could happen. Well, folks, since I was busy making videos, I thought I'd go ahead and do the Civil War to your door middle section myself. Okay. Now, what to expect when the left brings civil war to your door? What's that mean for prepping? First of all, for towns, it can be serious. I mean, towns are going to have to develop defense systems. And here's the bottom line, is we're not going to be able to rely on our politicians. We're not going to be able to rely on media. We're not going to be able to rely on, I don't know how much we can rely on law enforcement. We're so much on our own when it comes to these leftists coming after us. And I said, it's going to happen whether Trump wins or Trump loses. So, I mean, they might try to keep a lid on it if Trump loses, but the bottom line is the left is after us, and they want to target us. And we've got to think of how we can protect ourselves. I think we need to make inroads into the culture. We need to have some major conservative voices, major conservative news networks, major conservative entertainment networks, major conservative healthcare, major conservative education. We need major institutions representing us in our society if we are to keep a balance of power. That's going to be one of our first priorities. We must do that. But I said, are we going to be able to do it fast enough to keep the left from bringing the Civil War to our door? So, apparently some people are just figuring bunkers is the best way, but some hidden bunker out in a cave or underground, because face it, these leftists, they're going to start coming for people's houses. You know, the news media is going to say the people are no good because they try to defend themselves against the mad leftist. The liberal police or something are going to arrest the people who try to defend themselves. So that shows our society is breaking down, you know, pretty much completely at that point. It's breaking down. And we need to look out for ourselves and look out for our families and our communities. And stop relying on the government, because the government is selling us out. They're pretty much selling us out. And see, now here's the thing. I guess if you're a hardcore prepper, you probably do have a little hidden bunker someplace, but how are you where you store your stuff? Because the thing is, if the leftists come, they won't think anything of burning down people's houses. You know they will. So you hope your storage place isn't in your house. And you'd have to have an escape route. What, the old days, they dug tunnels under the house to have escape routes, and you'd have to have a way of getting away from the left and a way of surviving. And I said, the bottom line, there has to be a plan to end the left's reign of terror, or just trying to survive for a few more months. How's it going to be worth it if you're just totally under the boot? So I said, we need to get into culture ASAP. And we need to be self-reliant. Those are a couple of ways. I said, basically, think back. We're going to be going back to pioneer days where we're on our own. We won't have quite as many conveniences as we've been used to, but hey, we will still have a lot more than the original pioneers or pilgrims ever had. So let not your heart be troubled. Let not your heart be troubled. And we need to, like I said, be more self-reliant as individuals, as families, as communities. And eventually, like I said, we don't know if the country is going to splinter into a bunch of itsy-bitsy little pieces and tiny little Luxembourgs and tiny little Belgiums, tiny little Switzerlands. But it could happen. It could happen, and we don't know how that would play out. But, you know, anything is better than living under the boot of authoritarian dictators. Anything's better than that. So, our prepping plans, I said, they're helpful, but we shouldn't just prep with an idea of just trying to survive. We also need to prep with a plan of improving the country. Because if you just go hide out with 30 years supply of food, I mean, yes, maybe they won't find you, maybe you won't get caught, but, you know, you're not trying to improve the country, you're not trying to save any lives or anything. So, yes, Americans, we're not used to fighting for our rights, we're not used to fighting for our freedom, we're not used to fighting for much of anything, but we have the history books to tell us how and where it was done, and yes, we're going back to more primitive times, I guess, during these conflicts. But yeah, self-reliance and making inroads in culture, that's the main way we're going to see change and be able to save lives. And we'd like to save America all in one piece, but if not, we at least can save the spirit of freedom and keep it alive in some places, some part of America. It all begins with us. It's up to us to make the difference and cut through the propaganda and the media lies and keep America free. So we've got to trust in God, and pray, and work hard. All right. Thank you for watching. And I said, we hope civil war will not indeed come to your door. But we must be prepared. We must have a battle plan. We must have a strategy. We must look at all these things. I know this has probably been a pretty long video for me. But, I mean, we need to be ready. And we need to deal with these things. Try to, as calmly and as rationally as we can, try to save our lives. Don't even worry about the mad rioters. We need to worry about saving our lives and knowing that we can't just charge ahead, and we need to have a plan to help minimize and casualties and help keep our families and our communities safe from the left. I mean, this is civil war. This is the wild, wild, wild west. So we need to take it seriously and be concerned, be prepared. And the one thing we must not do, we must not think if the violence and the riots ever quiet down a little bit, do not, please do not just assume this is the end and take everything for granted. Please do not do that. Because that's why we're in this position in the first place. Because we weren't paying attention to what the left was doing. We didn't care. We weren't involved in our culture, our institutions, and we've got to make sure we are. Because even if the violence tones down a bit, the left is still behind the scenes, working hard to steal the heart and soul of America and bring in communism. So if people aren't going to enforce the laws, that's why we're in trouble. We need to have peace through strength. We need to be strong, and we need to counter the left, and we need to make sure we love God and love our country, and that will keep us strong. Okay? Alrighty. Let freedom ring.